defense player, KT roster.
Welcome back to LCK Spring 2019, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very interesting new track that we just showed for you there. I'm not going to make any comments. I'm still Atlas. This is Bubba Smithy, and GenG versus DAMWON Gaming will be our final matchup of the night and could be a very spicy one. I mean, GenG, a lot on the line to escape relegation. If they win here, then they will be too far ahead of KT to even stand a chance of being thrown down.
And then on the other side, you got to say, DWG Gaming, not a lot to play for. Not a lot of incentive to show starting roster for playoffs, to show strategies. Do you muddy the waters and just play some carries to show us off some picks, or do you go the SKT route and go very stock standard previous patch? So I'm hoping we see DWG Gaming open the floodgates, but so far today, it's been very standard.
Yeah, exactly right. And I feel like GenG sort of played into SKT's strategy there by also playing on the previous patch. Not entirely sure why. Maybe they're trying to hide strats that they've been working on for the promotion tournament that they're guaranteed to be heading into. They still have one more match up against Griffin, but it is all signed and sealed, as you can see on your screen right here as we have a look at the standings. Relegation is guaranteed. Yeah, -30, I think, is the worst game score that we have ever seen. And Griffin sitting at +23. So not a whole lot going to happen there on the final match of the day. Excited to see whether GenG can possibly pull out some sort of upset. But here, DAMWON versus GenG is actually a very important match, especially for GenG.
And GenG's coming off quite a lot of form, especially given their meager total of 5 match wins. They away with a 2-0 Griffin, went down to Kingzone 2-0, and then 2-0 to FLICKR, their fellow strugglers. So,
yeah,
gotta say, GenG comes in with a lot of form based on how their season is going. DWG Gaming have had a really tricky run. Do consider, since their FLICKR victory, it was Sandbox, Kingzone, Hanwha Life, Griffin, so they beat the team around, in and around them, the team that, of course, was competing for 5th spot until recently. They went down to Sandbox, Kingzone, and Griffin. What does it mean for today, and just which 5 players are playing, given that they're guaranteed to go no higher or no lower than 5th place?
Yeah, exactly right. And look, it's been a long time since these two teams matched up as well. You can see, not in their last 10 matches. So it was very early on.
First match of the season for both teams, and that was DWG Gaming showing us it wasn't going to be like the Kesper Cup, 2-0ing GenG and starting their tale of woes. So it'd be very kind of meager reward, but it would be a nice feeling to close the season with some hopefulness after it was such a hopeless first round robin for GenG.
Yeah, exactly. So GenG versus DAMWON, this is one of the 2 matches that GenG has to win to guarantee their spot in LCK Summer DAMWON was the last one to join the playoffs, and they have to build up momentum starting from this GenG series. Or they have guaranteed playoffs so they can just sit on strategies. That's another thing that we can think about. And CuVee versus Nuguri might be giving away some rosters for today. Top lane competition. High pools start off the game today.
Well, I'm willing to give away some even more information, Atlas. CuVee and solo queue. Last time we saw him come back in the team was spamming Nico, picked Nico.
Yep.
He has been spamming top lane Hecarim and a healthy dose of Kale as well. So either of those.
There's nothing better than a healthy dose of Kale, Papa Smithy.
Well,
I know that. My mom keeps telling me.
I've been listening to LS, and he tells me a healthy dose is no Kale. So we'll wait and see if we see some new age Korean Kale, or if we just get some of the more standard top lane Aatroxes that also he's not too partial to. You will notice.
The imported Kale.
Average game time, 35 minutes 27. At least it's not 38 to 40 minutes, but it is the longest average game time for GenG, because around that time, Ruler has 6 items.
Yeah, exactly. And Vision score in first place for GenG. We had to dig pretty deep to find a first for a stat for GenG, as this was aiming inting. I don't know why this, that's not a highlight. Straight up not, that was, oh no. That's a big old whoopsie. That was stunning.
Sometimes you just really... What the hell is this highlight? Come on!
He did actually die though. Like, Ruler did manage to kill him. Oh dear.
Well,
I mean, Ruler did a lot of killing.
I know.
A lot of people in this series.
That highlight.
It was so bad.
Well, anyway, Fly was able to play LeBlanc way better than we first anticipated. That was
in fact,
a bad
had a
by
fantastic
Griffin.
series.
He did, and that is something that has been few and far between. So Lissandra and LeBlanc are feeling like the must-bans against good old Fly, unless he has a new one. We're seeing now the highlights for DWG Gaming.
The red buff kill onto Viper.
Roster was significantly different. Punch was in the lineup that day. Spoilers, it's Canyon today. And also Flame will not be playing today, so rosters change. The eyes can be off the prize for DWG because they're thinking towards their match next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Against, well, they're not 100% clear, but likely to be one of Kingzone or Sandbox. We do go forward with CuVee versus Nuguri. Red side Nuguri, a lot of top lane carries, even the Silas, which for a lot of teams will be mid lane only. Nuguri is undefeated on a champion that has been defeated way more than it's won in previous patches.
Yeah, especially here in the LCK. However, it's got a few weeks to get these players up to speed on how to play him, and I'm sure they were watching the Shy with his incredible outplays. You can see Nuguri's stats, though, are out of control.
There's a 16.4 CS difference at 15 minutes. That is a spanking, Atlas. That's 3 minion waves almost worth of advantage onto the side of Nuguri, and yet he doesn't play that often. They have issues macro-wise when the young boy is playing. He's playing this game. He actually doesn't have the synergy going on with the Jackets, but it's a GenG team coming off their best run of form all season.
Exactly. That 2-0 against the FLICKR Freaks was certainly a good one, and a FLICKR, another team that managed to take down Griffin in their disaster week that I'm sure most of you witnessed. GenG will take the stage here at LOL Park first. No surprises when it comes to the roster. It's only Roach that has that possibility of heading towards the top side that you can see. It's going to be CuVee. Will it be his Nico once again, fresh off a buff here in 9.6, or will it be that Hecarim or the Kale? Very excited to see what the top lane matchup is going to be.
But it always feels like GenG flatter to deceive outside of Ruler away from 2 picks. You can kind of name the 2 champions you're happy to see from every member of GenG. And yes, that means that probably more of your roster than not will be on comfort, but someone is going to be really uncomfortable, and historically this season hasn't performed. So we move to the other side of the Rift. Like we mentioned, it will be Canyon and Nuguri. Now this is usually the roster they're least incentivized to use, because when it comes to cooks, they've got very few. BeryL's in the lineup. He is more experienced. A role swap from AD carry to support. He will have to do a lot of the calling, because there's been plenty of matches where they have played this matchup, and after about mid-game, unless it's really to execute, they get very confused.
Yeah, I really like BeryL's engaged support play. He has actually been quite impressive, but this is not the roster that we were expecting to see moving into today, because they don't have Punch's Voice or Flames, meaning that this mid to late game transition could be difficult for this squad, especially up against so much veterancy in GenG.
But you know how you can win with this lineup? You hit him with
hit
your
him with
wallet,
a baseball
Atlas.
bat. That's
a
exactly
baseball
right.
wallet-inspired wallet. It's going to be right there like a baseball bat to the face. And you know what? If enough cash is in a wallet, it hurts like a baseball bat, Atlas.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's like the old woman that has a brick in her purse, you know? Just Just you get walloped about the head. It doesn't matter what the
matchup is. A very young
is.
man that has a brick in his wallet, for sure. 16.4 CSD difference. That is a big wallet. So we're going to have to work out what the brand is there on the Nuguri wallet.
The question is, when does the CuVee Gauntlet buff start? Does it start a week before the Gauntlet, or does it have to wait until the Gauntlet happens? Because they're not going to be there for that particular Gauntlet, Pop Smithy.
Atlas, how does the CuVee Gauntlet buff do in the relegation playoffs? Because that might be the possibility, right? They're not out of it just yet. They're in the best spot of a FLICKR and also KT Rolster. I feel like they are, a win away. And this is a very winnable game against a lineup that may not be the playoffs lineup, against a team that has very little incentive to show strategies, and yet GenG have definitely disappointed way more often than they've pulled through. Only Ruler has come through LCK Spring 2019, I would say enhanced, not even unscathed, enhanced. And remember, he was the MVP of Worlds.
He looks better on a team that's fighting to get out of relegation, and it doesn't make any sense. Here we are, into the ban and pick here for GenG versus DAMWON Gaming, and Jace will still be the first ban.
I know what you did. I was listening to that last. It's pick and ban, Atlas. We always called it pick and ban. I'm not interested in this argument.
Ban and pick.
I'm not interested.
What happens
Listen
first?
to your papa. Now let's zoom into what's happening first in this particular game.
I'm telling LS on you, Papa Smithy.
Well, that's it later in the week. I'll say things in the Twitch chat that day. Now, remember, in solo queue, CuVee is spamming Kale and Hecarim.
Yes.
So those are new age picks. We haven't seen the newfangled picks today. All the hipsters are waiting to come out and say, I played this before. Well, you know who doesn't play it.
You don't need to worry. Yeah, Silas, no one gets to play it. No. That's 3 out of 3 bans so far on 9.6.
So remember, LeBonkers is available. Kale is going to be banned in the first round.
Yes!
Holy crap, that's a lot of respect in a pro game.
Yeah, that's real exciting. Now does GenG just lock in Nico? Just
where is
don't be scared.
I feel like Ryan should show us an LS cam, and he's just like, the most depressed first pick Morgana.
This is Fly's Morgana.
Yes, most likely. Now, Life could play it as well, but very conspicuously first picking Morgana. Does make you think it's mid lane Morgana. Wasn't nerfed on patch 9.6, so a real chance this will be happening out.
Incredibly safe as well. There's no way that you can really counterpick on Morgana unless you play something that's very early game.
So much open right now when it comes to tier lists.
Rek'Sai got a bit of a nerf, but not too much.
Almost a love tap, right? It's a bit of AD ratio. Yes, she doesn't have the amazing AD ratio she did before, but she's still very, very reliable. Now, this is interesting. We're claiming Tahm Kench very early. They're saying, all right, we see Morgana. We're thinking mid lane. We're thinking pick comp. Let's go for a Tahm Kench.
And then you pick Zac into the Tahm Kench, which is what GenG are thinking.
This is some RNG-esque drafts here.
Oh, man, that's
Why don't we just
really
lock
dangerous.
in that blind vein now and just go full scaling?
A blind Kai'Sa. Blind Kai'Sa would be so GenG
blind
right
couple.
now. Oh. Well, Peanut is thinking against it as the J4 is going to come out. Some of his best performances, even in losing games, have been that one. There's the Nico that we mentioned before. No reason not to pick it here. A flex pick between Ruler and CuVee. Most likely going into the hands of CuVee.
With the attack speed rebuff, you do wonder if this would be in service of a tricky Hecarim pick later in the draft. Now, picking Hecarim on blue side against Nuguri sounds like the worst ever because he'll just play a ranged matchup and crush you. His laning phase is pretty outstanding. And speaking of ranged matchups, we have no idea who's playing Nuguri or ShowMaker on this Rise. I feel like Nuguri is the better Rise player, but ShowMaker is good on it as well. So given that,
He's a fan of Fly's LeBlanc, and that LeBlanc picture was incredible.
It was almost airbrushed, and it was a drawing.
That's just crazy. Well, Vayne's going to be banned, so GenG are going to miss out on their favorite combo.
Undefeated.
So, Papa, another thing that we need to mention is the fact that Morgana Nico is everyone's favorite bottom lane duo for the Nico.
That is true. There is a chance that we've seen this in the bot lane. The LeBlanc is being banned, so they're saying, what about mid lane Morgana? Even though Morgana...
And GenG banning the LeBlanc is the other crazy thing.
That's the thing, is you would expect the team to ban LeBlanc to be DWG Gaming, if you're going to ban LeBlanc at all, because Morgana famously was that pick into Faker's LeBlanc in 2015 MSI. A lot of different machinations going on, and they actually banned the scaling and the early game option from the 80 carry role. I wonder if it's just Lucian for Nuclear in the next round.
Or they're just banning the last 2 champions that Ruler played, just to make sure that he has to dig a little bit deeper as the Ashe Tahm Kench is going to come out. Bit of a shout out there to GenG.
We got a Rotato comp on the side of DWG Gaming, right? It's Ashe Tahm Kench. It's Rek'Sai, the strongest blind pick jungler.
And they're setting themselves up for the most incredible 4-1 possibility if Nuguri can get either on his Rise in a good matchup or with that counter pick and give ShowMaker the Rise. Now,
A lot of options. Lucian Braum is up if you want to go.
Confirmed mid lane Morgana.
That is true. We know that one as of now, mid lane Morgana. As you were suspicious of, Atlas, I feel like Jinx was a possibility.
Oh, just do it, Ruler. Don't
they
be
noticed
scared.
Lucian Braum was up. They're going to Lucian Braum, I'm sorry to say. I didn't want to bait you there. It was always going to be Lucian Braum. They noticed it was up.
Oh, come on, ShowMaker.
ShowMaker is so overdue for a Katarina game.
He really, really is.
What's the matchup? It's Morgana. Doesn't apply a lot of pressure, so you can do a lot of different things.
And also,
here.
you can't interrupt the ultimate with the Q. You need to wait for the proc of the ultimate, but as far as making us feel sad is concerned, I think Corki makes us feel the most sad. Unless he locks in the good skin.
It actually undoes a lot of what their comp is about also, because their front line here is a lot more conditional. Warrior Rek'Sai, Tahm Kench Rise, not a true front line, so you do worry this will lead to a Griffin-esque situation where CuVee had all of the items but just couldn't do damage in team fights with no front line, so this was a really nice invitation for the Katarina in a game that has no stakes at all for DWG Gaming, and sadly, they went the way of Corki. So yes, I don't know if the Corki skin's available on the PTR, or in the tournament realm, I should say. I hope it is.
Yeah, and but it's like they show us the prime rib and then say, just kidding, canned spaghetti. Like, it just feels so bad.
Yeah, it's not even mum spaghetti, it's
No,
canned spaghetti.
no,
It's not what you
canned
want.
spaghetti. Mum spaghetti's great.
I know.
I'd take that. That's like, that's like if we got a Yasuo in the mid lane. You know, that'd
Yay!
feel fun. That'd feel fun.
The Gragas Yasuo phase is over, Atlas.
Yeah, but we got Rek'Sai Yasuo possibilities. It's a theory that we could have had. I really love the composition out of GenG, though, as we have a look at it. Nico, J4, Morgana, and the Lucian Braum on the bottom side of the map. This will fit in very similarly to their Vayne composition, but spike a little bit early with the Lucian having a lot of early power.
They want to push everywhere. If they can get away with it.
Yeah,
and
priority in lanes is certainly something they got.
But you consider that, yes, you like Nico just whacking away at Rise. What if Rek'Sai shows up? Reliable gank there and potential to start the snowball on a ultra comfortable champion. And top lane is definitely early game where you want to go as Canyon.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to remember as well, when CuVee managed to take down Sword in that very historic Griffin series, it was against Rise back-to-back as the Nico. See whether he can do it again here in Game 1 against DWG Gaming.
That's how you know it was live. They actually fired off the W there. The Ash. Showing that there's no ruses going on here. Fly's got a new pick. He's going to show off the Glacial Augment Morgana, you will notice.
Better be the Super Soaker Morgana first item.
Twin Shadows would be pretty fun as well.
Yeah, you can build both. That's how the Glacial Augment Ari works. You just build as many activatable items as possible that slow people down.
This is a very fun game because GenG have a comp where if they have map control, you have to face check one of Jarvan, Morgana, and Braum. That sounds really sad.
Yeah.
And it's a squishy lineup on the side of DWG. However, DWG also have a tempo draft. They got Tahm Kench Ash. If they can get out of laning phase, they can roll mid lane. They also have the Rek'Sai Tremor Sense and the Realm Warp. Here are the runes for good old Morgana. You'll notice actually approach velocity is taken in
That makes some sense.
the utility tree. Of course, it's all about crowd controlled champions, and you know what? Both these teams have a lot of crowd control, so I feel like the value here is going to be nice and high.
Absolutely. So Fly hasn't taken the mini dematerializer, so it feels like he doesn't need it. As Rise has taken the Comet. That's scary. That's Nuguri wanting to play pretty aggressive.
Second time we've seen Nuguri take Comet in what is traditionally a pretty hard matchup for a Rise. I forget the original matchup, but we see it here in the Nico matchup. Like you mentioned, it's press the attack on hit Nico, who just wants to hit Rise with impunity. However, it's Nuguri's Rise, and watch this guy in the laning phase. You'll be able to appreciate why he is revered as a laning player. However, watch him in the mid game, and sometimes the brain fades of what can actually help the enemy snowball. Peanut not going to actually gank the Rise, but will give some coverage for CuVee.
And also won't have Punch here as well. I think that's one of the main things, is the fact that Punch did offer a bit of that veterancy to Nuguri as well, and it's Canyon, who's also a rookie here for DWG Gaming. He's on Vision now as he picks up the Rift Scuttler, but yes, Nuguri's laning phase is certainly to be feared, but in comparison to CuVee versus Sword, this is CuVee with an extra 1% on the base attack speed. So he got a little bit of a buff moving into his matchup against Nuguri on a very similar Rise.
Definitely feeling good about that if you are the on-hit Nico player. It's definitely been a sometimes champion. I feel like CuVee has, of course, been the big star of this top lane Nico and has been returning to it wherever possible.
Yeah.
CuVee in his heyday was able to draw bans on picks other people weren't playing at the time, so
Oh, man.
Trying to justify that here, and like we understood, if he's just there hitting Rise and there's minions in front of him, he's going to win the damage trade handedly.
Exactly. Getting the passive shot and press the attack fully stacked up there. Nuguri does have to be a little bit careful. Does have himself the refillable potion.
There is the mechanic where, as a W max Nico, you can use your clone to eat overloads and not take damage trades.
Yep.
That other champions will be forced to opt into. So, for now at least, health-wise, you are very, very healthy as CuVee. Potential to bait out the W quite easily, though, if Rek'Sai's topside.
And also, you're very squishy. So if Nuguri gets that Flash Rune Prison in there, then Canyon can follow up with his knock-up after a burrow, and it can just be disaster. So where he's going to be is actually going to be important. It's Ruler going aggressive on the Nuclear. Almost gets the stun, but not quite. I don't think Ruler was expecting life to land that Winter's Bite.
Some fancy auto-attack cancels there as well. Always nice to see.
Yep, skating around here on the Lucian.
Different look for Ruler. He has played some Lucian this season, but often he was on the Kai'Sa duty to open up the season recently. Been playing a bevy of different picks, but he's undefeated on Vayne. Banned away this game. We know about the gank gank pass you can take as a Rek'Sai. Shaco inspired. Is this particular side not going to probably see a W used quite freely here, and CuVee actually sniffs it out.
Yeah, that gank sense is just stunning from CuVee.
What's the only way I can die? He's wondering as the wave was being frozen. So actually pretty next level. Top laner sense is intact for CuVee.
Yep, fantastic stuff. Just showing his veterancy there. Understands that it's not a time to walk up to the minion wave. And he's going to freely farm out all of these creeps underneath the turret. Will actually have himself a little bit of a CS advantage. Nuguri's going to go back home. Does have his Lost Chapter already completed. Not decided to go for any tier early on. Wants to have as much power as possible. As Nuclear takes a big trade there with the Relentless Pursuit. Life uses a very aggressive Unbreakable to try and win out the trade.
Always fun to see people playing out lanes a bit different. We know how the Nico versus the Rise should go, but then, like you say, you go for immediate power, just like a lot of the buys changed when we had a lot of mages in the bot lane when it came to what items can you rush and get away with in a laning phase. Tier Ezreal became Sheen Ezreal most of the time for a long time in that particular meta, so understand, of course, the Lost Chapter coming in. Infernal Drake is the first spawn here. You're looking at control bot side, Lucian, Braum, Morgana. You feel like GenG have the first argument for Drakes to be started, but for now at least, with the ability to use Tremor Sense and also the Hawk Shot, no freebies available for GenG.
Well, now Nuguri has that first back. CuVee hasn't teleported. Nuguri didn't have to either, which is why he's keeping CuVee in this lane.
Freezing the minion wave as well and forcing Nico to walk up at times where Rek'Sai might be around.
Oh, they timed that ward
beautiful
perfectly.
Maybe even better than he realizes.
Yeah. And in fact, CuVee, he's going to walk back and he thinks, oh man, I wish I could use it. But he doesn't actually have it available. He has a Peanut though. Peanut really battle warding. Fantastic play here.
No one died. No one even hit each other, but wasn't that a cool passive play where the exact timing, and then also Peanut coming up for that exact timing, and it ships in the night, but in the VOD review, both coaches look at that and they're like, good job, junglers. Like, that was really well played on both sides.
And actually, you know, something to talk about, you know, you'd be talking about a lull state at this point in the game, but that wasn't. That was potential action just mitigated beautifully by better heads-up play. Sometimes it's about what you don't do as much as what you do in the early stages of the game.
And also in this lull state, we can talk about how you just said doo-doo. It's very funny.
I didn't want to mention it because I didn't want to sound immature, but I thought it was hilarious.
You know,
sometimes you make mistakes and you just have to about a pop smoothie.
Here's what I've learned, now ticking over to 32 years of age. Still really funny when someone says doo-doo.
Yeah.
Not so funny when you get turret dived by a Rek'Sai, but for now it's just a blue buff contest. Now, if Fly loses blue, we're going to lose a lot of lane control that Morgana is looking for. Scaling is a word we often investigate when no one's died in the first 7 minutes.
Yep.
It's actually a really tricky one to make equivalency with, you would say, but of course Corki will do so much damage compared to Morgana in the late game, but with no frontline. Like, Ryze is a kind of frontline. I don't think we're going to see, I mean, we got the longsword. It's going to be Warrior Rek'Sai. I feel like this game just snowballs really hard. So I kind of want to be results-oriented and say the team that starts winning continues winning. I feel like catch-up is really difficult between these two comps. So we're just kind of wading through and making doo-doo jokes until we see some action.
Well, Peanut has decided to go for the Cinderhulk Jarvan. That's often the option he likes to take. as GenG are happy to play around Ruler in the late game. He's going to start up this Infernal Drake.
He gets
but Corki has a bit of priority in the mid lane.
He knows the control ward was placed in the spot that's very hard to see unless you enter the pit, so he entered, least the Drake, and then was like, oh crap, there's control ward defensively here, so that continues to delay the Infernal, and the freebie that Lucian Bomb usually provides, i.e. the ability to sneak Drake, is going to be delayed until around the time that Rift Herald spawns.
Well, it's the blue buff contest here for GenG that they're looking at. Not sure whether they got vision, but you can see Peanut just put down that ward around where BeryL is located, even if they can't see the actual blue buff itself.
It's a really fun control ward spot if you're playing solo queue because it's such a ruse. I know, and then the enemy's so tilted like, but my free Infernal, no!
Yeah. Doesn't give you river vision, but does spot out whenever anyone decides they want to go for the Drake.
Maybe not the best for the ocean, but when it's the Infernal,
yeah.
you always know that there is going to be a lot of incentive there. Look at how much damage dealers are on both sides, right?
Oh, and also Canyon. He's started off the blue buff, and he's going to have to wait so long. Does have to smite it, and that just denies it from ShowMaker. Just maybe some miscommunication between the new jungler as in comparison to Punch. That's really, really sad because the Corki wants to be able to spam spells on the minion wave.
Especially at this point in the game, right? You don't have the ability to rocket auto and get things down super quickly, so you need the blue buff to keep up with Fly more than before. Fly's blue buff wears off, and honestly, it probably won't end up being super conspicuous.
ShowMaker mistimed the package delivery as well. That's why he just randomly Valkyried in the lane.
I was watching Sino-Dragon versus RNG, and Sino-Dragon's mid laner had one of the biggest special delivery moments I've seen in a long time.
Really?
It was a really awesome game one there where RNG ran Kale Vayne and Uzi's Vayne, right?
Uzi's
and
Vayne
lost out to a Corki.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it was actually a really awesome game. Definitely worth watching if you want something.
I actually missed out on that one.
It was a very fun one to watch, so I'm waiting to see if ShowMaker can put in a big shift on the Corki. Again, we've been very unconvinced by Corki in Korea.
He's been so underwhelming in the LCK so far. Exactly right. Feels like no one could win on the champion.
You know, hoping there is finally the space to be able to pick up the Infernal, and with not having the blue buff transfer and all that, DWG Gaming has to check with their faces.
Yeah, and Ruler says you can have a culling, and BeryL's not going to be able to walk up to try and contest this one. Peanut actually did de-aggro the dragon, given the fact that Canyon was making his way around. Fly, though, is going to clear out the minion wave. ShowMaker gets this control ward. An extra one is in the inventory of Fly, as they've been trading farm very evenly in the mid lane. But it's a bit of a wash. Corki and Morgana, I mean, they're pretty good when it comes to farming.
It is a really cool comp from GenG because there is the
soul.
a
lot to like, man.
It's the well, we'll hold the point now. As the bind does hit there, I don't know if we're going to see action here because it's justified over a Rift Scuttle. They don't want GenG to get at DAMWON because, of course, that gives them even more control around the Infernal.
Yeah.
But the Infernal has been delayed till after Rift Herald spawns. But the reason why I find it a fun comp, it doesn't have the cool new champions we were hoping to talk about. So my Blue Blades-esque terror about not getting to tell the fans about everything I've prepped for 9.6 is abated a little bit because think about the last time we saw the Nico X comps. They were Nico Vayne comps, and it was very much, this comp needs to stack Rage Blades, then they're strong. This time it's Lucian and the Nico, which means that Lucian, who has good burst, who bridges very well with Play the Rune King Black Cleaver, and Morgana, who of course, you know, has a stack of AP and does more front-loaded damage early than damage the late game, can actually allow CuVee to get a bit of time to both get a split push build going and also team fight and get ready in a fight. So they definitely warm up a bit differently. Life is going for a deep freeze here, but it seems like he'll get to be Mr. Freeze because no interruption by DWG.
Yeah, and actually, I liked the GenG compositions with the Vayne Nico. I thought they were cool, they were creative. I like this one way more, Papa, for a whole lot of different reasons. And as a play-by-play, generally I look down a composition and I think, what are the ultimates of all of these champions? Because I have to yell skill names. And the idea of having Soul Shackles, Cataclysm, and the Pop Blossom all happen at the one time sounds like a one GenG teamfight to me.
Because theoretically, in that time, you're using every Relentless Pursuit offensively because the amount of enemy movement agency there is so low. You're slowed, stunned, knocked up. You're just having a terrible time.
And if you're standing there, and the short range of DAMWON, apart from nuclear, is possibly going to be a huge deal in these late game fights. So GenG do have a composition that has a lot of priority early, a lot of gank agency from a Jarvan early on, and then also transitions into a team fight that looks pretty good in the late game. I really like how this composition works from GenG.
You still understand that if DWG Gaming gets a lead. They can map control. They can rotate first. They have a lot of pick CC. And GenG are eminently squishy.
And they've got Hawkshot and Tremor Sense for spotting out any attempted Baron, so they barely even need to put vision around a Baron pit.
That's why when I kind of see what I catch when I'm doing the juggle of who takes it late game, that was a sniper bite. Joker would be proud of that one.
Yeah.
The only kind of interesting swing to me is what does CuVee versus Nuguri look like if they hit their item timings at the same time? Because Ryze can get very oppressive in the 1v1. Nico should be too slippery, and he's going to build for lane only, right? With Rageblade by the Ruin King. So because of that, we'll wait and get the full information there. I believe Canyon is spotted.
Oh yeah, there's a ward, and it's just outside of the range of that control ward. Man, if there was a ring of vision,
I know.
That's really silly as CuVee. Oh, he doesn't get it, but the Pop Blossom's going to come in. That will make sure that Canyon takes the ride out. But Peanut and Fly should be able to pick up the aggro onto this one, and you might just say that CuVee missed all of his buttons, but honestly, I feel like he's picked up Shelly for the team.
It's very hard for either team to face check, but damn it,
there is a package. There's a package from ShowMaker. They are going to be able to pick up this Rift Herald as CuVee uses his Shapeshifter, gets himself out of the way. Arrow is going to land, but that's a really great buffer of the Flag and Drag, and GenG, they'll take Shelly and they'll leave.
A lot of posturing from DAMWON, but even with the package, I didn't think they would actually unleash the special delivery there. They're just going to pull back. Does mean another advantage in neutrals-wise in a game which we said should snowball the team with the early advantage. It may be a slight one, but slight lead again. The team of GenG.
Yeah, and ShowMaker's got a Trinity Force and only 18 stacks left on this cull. He's really accelerated himself into this mid-game, but GenG do have the slight advantage when it comes to the gold. Super Second Soaker done for Fly in the mid lane as well, so that's going to be getting a lot of slows. Glacial Augment means that extra little line of slowism that comes out of the Super Soaker is just so obnoxious, man.
And you know what else is obnoxious? How slow this early game has been, because
it's a GenG game. Surely you were prepared.
We had one turret plate taken all game.
Feels like GenG.
And if you're ShowMaker, you say, ooh, my 3-item build will be online. And again, we've said with no reliable front line, it's hard to say what's that in service of, because we just saw GenG take down a pretty damn fed CuVee Corki in that Griffin versus GenG series because his front line was unreliable, and we're seeing that here again. CuVee, power farming, I would imagine he has way the Ruin King gold, but this is all about back time, as he does.
Yep. See whether Nuguri is going to be able to punish him and get himself a better back timing, but you can see it's just trading a farm. And you have to say that that actually benefits CuVee here, because Nuguri is normally known for being a pressure point on the map for DWG Gaming that can work every single time. It hasn't necessarily been that here for DWG this game.
And Atlas, we have some time, so we can, probably quite a lot of
You want to talk about Doodoo again?
No.
Oh, okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter. What I want to talk about is, what is the capital of the LoL state? Because we talk about this state all the time.
Adelaide.
Well, that's funnier than I expected, actually. I thought you were going to say GenG, but...
Ah, just Adelaide.
Well,
that's an Australian joke, everyone.
We're definitely in Adelaide right now.
Yeah. Nuclear going to take a fair bit of damage there as BeryL spits him back out again. Actually, shout out to a few of my favorite casters of old for League of Legends that come from Adelaide.
No, I'm going to create some regional beef.
No? Are you going to do that?
Never be in the capital of the LoL state.
Oh, Ubershout's going to come and get you, man. We've seen how much he goes to the gym.
He's a rival game broadcaster. We don't talk about him.
Hey, he started off as a League of Legends broadcaster, okay? As Shelly gets thrown down in the mid lane and Canyon almost dies on the bottom side of the map. Maybe we have to bring it away from this LoL state situation.
Boom!
That's a flash, but the Cataclysm will be the raise. Void Rush comes in. He even gets the heal, and Peanut! Oh no, does get the flash off, but Nuclear will be able to slow him down. The frost shot's enough. Almost gets the flag and drag in time, but it's not enough, and first blood goes to DAMWON against all odds.
Just like Graves years ago, close but no cigar for Peanut this time. He goes super deep, but it's Cinderhulk Jarvan.
Yeah.
The damage isn't there, and a nice timing on that ultimate from the Tom Kench, and Peanut looking a bit silly.
Yep, that was the young man mechanics coming out of Canyon there as well. The timing on the Void Rush, just amazing. Made Peanut look silly. He's building towards a Gargoyle Stoneplate as item number 2. He's super defensive As DWG, they don't care about this control ward. They know that Peanut's walking from base, and they'll grab a free Infernal Drake here.
And now you already know how this game looks in hindsight if it's a DWG victory. It's the fact that they delayed that first Infernal, they picked up the second Infernal while Corki was getting going. Let's watch Peanut here and just understand his position, because he sees Canyon get cold, and he can just disengage, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's not going to be able to take over his jungle.
He saw the back.
He saw the back time, and he's like, this is my time to shine. Unfortunately, would have 100% got the kill if it was Warrior Jarvan, which was the build for a lot of the season.
And also if Nuclear didn't have his heal available immediately.
Heal, stasis, a lot is used to keep him alive. But remember, it's first blood gold. It's not just 300 Gs, it's the bonus gold there as well.
And it's also Peanut off the map and a guaranteed Infernal Drake. That is so many snowball effects now in place for DWG Gaming. Next Drake will also be an Infernal.
A surprising build path from Fly. He's gone for an early Haunting, guys, in the build. The GOP, of course, makes sense, has the synergy with
if you guarantee people are going to be standing on the puddle, I mean, the Leandri's Torment does do a lot, given the fact that you also have Glacial Augment to get the slow for the extra damage.
Good Hawk shot there. Means that DWG Gaming will walk up, but they don't know for sure. Peanut's around. I would say, as a counterpoint, there's not a lot of health stacking on the enemy team.
Yeah, that's true. Gobble up there onto the Ash. BeryL has the grey health. He'll be absolutely fine. And Canyon and Nuguri, they're looking for Peanut, and Canyon just kills him. I'm not even sure how he did that much damage that instantly, but that's just a very, very dead Nico on the top side.
Missing health damage and not much health to speak of. Is the interaction looking for their Atlas. Rage going to be delayed when Wit's End for the two laning opponents he'll have and just deleted by Canyon. Pleasant reminder that even after a ratio nerf, you do crazy damage with Rek'Sai.
Yeah. That was ridiculous. And the insta-pop on the Void Rush just meant that CuVee had absolutely no time to react and do anything. Could have flashed to maybe put the Rek'Sai underneath the turret after that, but also had the burrow. It's 20 CS the advantage here for the Ryze.
I'm going to raise my hand and say that we got the confirmation. Nuguri, a better Ryze top than Sword.
Yes.
Because, yes, he did get one gank, but he was just innately winning the matchup, and he's going for a Void Staff for matchup as well. That is an early Void Staff for a Ryze.
That's a really early Void Staff.
But he just wants to kill Wit's End Nico. This might be a Ryze who can consistently 1v1 Nico.
And also, he knows that Peanut is also going full tank. He'll have a fair bit of magic resist after that Gargoyle Stoneplate is completed. So actually does a lot for getting rid of the front line on the side of GenG as well. I feel like it's multi-use there in the Void Staff as that steal was cubed by Canyon. Yep. Things are going worse and worse, and then worse again for GenG as this mid-game goes on.
And you can also point out the point where the game went from really in their hands to away from their hands. Let's go watch the replay. Let's watch this last bit of damage, see how much the ult did. The Realm Warp there amusingly took them way out. R did, yeah, it'll even be fine damage.
Yep, it did.
And there's Chilling Smite there as well.
Yep.
So those two things, explosive damage, I think they actually overkilled him by quite a lot.
The Pop Blossom didn't seem to do too much.
I don't think the shield actually armed. It
No,
didn't reach the ground.
It certainly didn't.
Well, that cooldown is short, so perhaps not going to be so big, but that's the answer to why he died so fast.
Well, CuVee gets a ward, spots himself a Rek'Sai. As Nuguri's going to make his way towards his bottom outer turret, we'll see whether CuVee actually feels lucky, and he is going to stand around, pick up these minions. Not too worried about a dive at this stage. Does have Pop Blossom back available again.
In case you're wondering which Wit's End we're at, it's still the old Wit's End. There's not the new one that's been discussed when it comes to being able to heal off the proc damage. That's a 9.7, 9.8 thing. It's still a 9.6, so understandably, a whole lot of patches being thrown up in the air, and there's some ambiguity about where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, we're at 9.6, everyone. I've intentionally tried to stay away from 9.7 as much as possible, even though I have spoiled myself on a few of the changes, just because I want to make sure I know exactly what's in the game of League of Legends that I'm commentating. It gets very, very confusing. As, thankfully I have stayed relatively spoiler-free. I'm just excited about new Mordekaiser though, man. Oof. Oof.
You are, well, speaking of being excited,
that's an oof.
That was no ultimate required to just insanely murder CuVee.
Yeah, I feel like
CuVee's like, I bought a Negatron clip. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Why do I take 1 trillion damage from this guy? Well, maybe it's Soft Boot's Void Staff that does that. Oh my god.
Just Nuguri things.
Do you know what Nuguri does on Ryze as well? He farms way more than the minions on the map would suggest. On this Ryze, the mid-game often a lot of the farm does go to Nuguri in side lanes, and he's continuing to do that right now. He's going to go back home. He's got an Oblivion Orb. He's Magic Resist doesn't do anything to this Ryze.
I really hope they get value out of Flame and Nuguri together, because you see why, in a perfect world, DAMWON Gaming would have been fielding Nuguri all year, right? Because he's just so prodigiously talented in the 1v1. It's the map plays that really let him down, and the mentality, I think. So I hope there's some inspiration. And speaking of inspiration,
yeah, teleport comes in from Fly as BeryL takes a fair bit of damage, but he's not going to die just yet. Nuclear looking for it. The Rek'Sai going to explode. The Devour's going to be in there, though. The Ignite, it's ticking down. BeryL's going to fall. Fly picks that one up, but that's only one to be lost here, and somehow Canyon survives.
Nuguri doesn't join the fight. The Infernal is up, so there's actually quite a lot on the back end of this. Hard to say whether there was actually a time that he could find a meaningful teleport and not just arrive after the fight was over, but it will be a free Infernal to the side of GenG.
Yep, they are going to be able to pick that one up for themselves. Fantastic for GenG's composition that does feel good moving into the late game. I actually looked a bit incredulously at the screen right there as the Super Soaker came out from Fly, and ShowMaker took about a third of his health in damage as he stood on the little slow field.
I missed that.
That was a lot of damage.
I didn't miss that there's more flat pen on Nuguri.
Oh my goodness. Void Rush has a pretty long range, guys. This CuVee does actually get the extra movement speed, but ShowMaker is going to be able to catch up. The flash comes in, but the Valkyrie, that's what that's for. ShowMaker picks up that kill very easily against the split-pushing Nico.
No outplaying on that one. Didn't have to use a further summoner on ShowMaker, able to pick up the kill. And now you might worry about both lane assignments. Wit's End will help against Corki to a point, but he has some physical damage in the kit. Let's think about, should Rise have teleported? The answer right now is no. And the question is, if he teleports on the ward to the right as ShowMaker doesn't change anything, the answer is maybe. So at this point, you can definitely say yes, he doesn't crack the turret, but Nuguri's call in the end is no.
Yeah, and I actually feel like DAMWON didn't want to re-engage just because Canyon was so incredibly low that it would have been basically a 4v5 regardless of whether Nuguri had have come in.
I can take both counter-arguments, and at the end of the day, Nuguri now has a 40 CS advantage, so what do they do with this teleport advantage?
Well, at the moment, they're going to move into the mid lane, and the outer turret should be falling down here. They've got a lot of turret damage if ShowMaker can actually get in range. Nuclear going to be there as well as, all right, Binding has to be used. Sorry, the package has to be used to get out of the way of the Binding. That's fantastic news for GenG.
I believe it was starting to time out. At the end of the day, you can buffer CC so reliably with the package that, because it always goes that fixed distance, then you're stunned at the end of it, that you're happy to walk up and get that auto. You don't want outer turret lasting forever. That's actually a conundrum GenG have to deal with. If DWG Gaming hit the side lanes here, there may be a window to try to punish through mid.
Yep, ShowMaker has a teleport. He's topside. He's going to be shoving that wave forward. Nuguri goes back to his environment, which is a solo lane.
DWG Gaming's environment, let's remember, is 1-3-1 pretty comfortably here. GenG want to play 4-1 where possible. They don't have a lot of range in their 3 compared to Ashe, Tahm Kench, and potentially more members than that. Rek'Sai also Tremor Sense, so it feels like the extra range on the Ashe and also the safety of Hawkshot, Tremor Sense, Tahm Kench means that you have the world's most impunity. You wonder how they could potentially be picked with that much defensive utility.
Yeah, it's real silly. So far, it's all about farm here for DWG Gaming. You can see in the mid lane, about 30 CS, similar margin, but higher on the top side of the map. And it's only Ruler that has the advantage. Name a more GenG situation. I don't think there is one. However, it's the solo laners here for DWG that are really pushing them ahead further and further. It's close to a 4,000 gold lead. They have themselves an Infernal Drake, but the next one is going to be a Cloud, and GenG picked up the first 2.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that with Nuguri and Canyon, the young players who aren't known for their macro shot calling, they've gone for a 1-3-1 comp that's about playing the map, and they have a vision lead, as you can see, a vision disadvantage, as GenG have the vision lead. So there's going to be some technical rotational plays that this lineup of DWG Gaming hasn't performed on in the past. So this is where they might trip themselves up because they need to be pretty delicate about their lane assignment.
Well, the other thing, like, I feel like they've picked a composition that does play into that very, very well because they have Tremor Sense, they have Hawkshot. If they're in a tricky situation, they're like, oops, we don't have wards. They've got a lot of different options when it comes to trying to mitigate that as an issue.
But if you use all those to catch up, is it enough? As Nuclear takes a bit of damage.
Yeah, BeryL's going to hold on as the ultimate does come out. Foley's going to do a fair bit there to life. The big one comes in from ShowMaker. That's dangerous. Fly misses the Dark Binding as Peanut has to flag and drag his way out to safety. 80 carry life for support life is a trade that you'll take if you're DWG.
Just finish to your point. The issue is that those things should be the cherry on top of a pretty equal game, right? Because there's not much of a meaningful lead. And then you fight for Vision, and when Vision is exhausted on one side, you've also got utility.
Yeah, you got more answers.
But if you're using it to catch up, then suddenly you wonder if your one kind of serrated or sharp edge is dulled, and then it does become very much a coin flip game. And it feels like we're going to get to a territory where one team messes up and has like a gap in vision or is exhausted of vision, and then a Baron just kind of closes the game one way or the other. If you're DWG Gaming, a team that is trying to show they are going to be a force in playoffs, you have the counter argument of we're not playing for anything today, but you also, if you're Nuguri and Canyon especially, are fighting for your spot, and that is not something to forget.
Well, DWG Gaming, you know how I like talking about item spikes, Papa Smithy? They have two pretty big ones at this point in the game. Yeah. Infinity Edge completed on both Nuclear and ShowMaker at the same time. And both of these champions, it means everything.
Two items-wise, when we had Play the Ruin King Black Cleaver and also the Leandries into Super Soaker, you were loving GenGs, but then IEs with Zeal item completions on both sides just can't be answered by an Infinity Edge on Ruler.
Nope, that's only 25% crit, and you're not exactly getting the extra boost that you need, having at least the Zeal.
Big issue for GenG is that they can't play 4-1, they can't play 1-3-1 because CuVee can't deal with Rise. They've actually struggled to use the sort of lane assignments they would have expected because they played and won this matchup earlier.
Yeah.
And that is leaving them in a tricky spot. Look at Nuguri. He's literally
level 17.
And he's at the inhibitor turret.
Oh my goodness. CuVee only level 15. He incidentally took half of his health bar in damage.
Run a Baron, baby.
They're feeling so much pressure that they are going to run at this Baron. Canyon does have control ward vision. And they're not actually going to try and take that one down. Canyon, completely seen here. Looks like Peanut wants the 50-50. Don't have two smites. They don't have any unsealed spellbooks now available here for GenG. Tower's taken on the bottom side. Nuguri's just too strong. We're going for it. The Baron stolen from Canyon. Of course it is. Here for DWG Gaming. Cataclysm comes in. Canyon's punished, but he's already taken it. The heist was a success. And GenG, tail between their legs, will try to get out.
Peanut might die incidentally in the back of the big
one.
Had
to flash the big one. My goodness.
This is the thing that is rewritten an otherwise super even game is Nuguri's pressure. ShowMaker's just interrupting every back. They're TPing back bot lane.
Yeah, Nuguri's going to head down there and just try and take Nexus turrets.
Nuguri's playing single player.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, he found his friend.
Yeah, he's found some people in the mid lane just because he's like, oh, I don't actually have an objective down here, my bad. And he is going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret alongside the rest of DWG Gaming. When it comes to making a call and it not working out, that's up there.
But you understand why they made the call.
It wasn't like they're just idiots. It's like, there's too much pressure, we need to relieve it somehow.
They weren't going to be able to teamfight because Nuguri just mainlined his build full lane and smashed lane with nameplates on. This was the best of Nuguri versus CuVee playing on a champion is practiced in pro play and solo queue.
Smash Zordon 2 games in a row.
And that's why.
In that matchup.
Unfortunately, again, nameplates are the big thing there, and that means that GenG have the option of losing the game in the Nuguri lane or trying to win the game with a Baron that makes it so it doesn't matter how the 1v1 matchup goes. They YOLO Baron, as we called, and it goes the way of the young man once again. No longer is that Peanut, it is Canyon. In this day and age, the 17-year-old Jug King smites away the Baron, maybe smites away game one for GenG.
Yeah, it's looking like it at this stage. You can see there's just so many minions killed on the side of DWG Gaming. They are ahead of the clock in 3 lanes, Papa Smithy. How does that even happen?
Well, what happens, Atlas, is that no assignments work.
Nuguri might just kill Peanut here in this Cataclysm. Eventually flashes, wanted to actually kill him, the Overload. Didn't actually land as Canyon looking to do the wrap around.
There's so many meanwhile.
Why are there so many members of DWG Gaming on this map? It feels like there's 9 people.
The full court press, perhaps never best summated than that action. Ruler's just trying to poke people and make them think. They're not thinking they're too hard, Atlas.
Nope. They're thinking this game's unfair. That they should actually have only 5 people here as Fly almost just killed in one rotation. GenG make their way over. They're trying to do something. Ruler explodes. See you later, mate. That is just frustration coming in on the side of GenG. The arrow lands. The Void rushes their nuclear. Grabs that kill as well. Life He's underneath Nexus turrets, but is not feeling very safe at this stage of the game. And Fly tried to press an ultimate button, but evaporates at the hands of DWG Gaming. They have so much damage. What is this party in the Fountainous Canyon? He's not even tanking the fountain just yet. How did they manage to keep everyone alive?
We left the silence there. They went in with all the minions. They end the game right there. The game best summated in half a damage rotation. Nuguri killed Ruler from full health with heal up.
Yeah.
That is how much damage
The
Rise was
Overload
doing.
did half of his health bar.
The second one did the rest of it.
Yeah, oh my god.
Well, when Nuguri and Canyon work, they really work, Atlas. You can see why. They're hoping for some upskilling in the macro. Because, man, did that game end.
And also, you remember how incredibly slow the early game was. I mean, we were talking about lull states and what they'd be called. I said doo-doo by accident. And then, all of a sudden, this game explodes way out of proportion. You have 30 CS leads, 50 CS leads over the clock for 3 members of DWG Gaming at the end of that match. Like, when it comes to an outperformance in solo lanes, right? This is almost solo performances based on what the composition that they had put together did. Oh my god. And it just happened so fast.
Meanwhile, those CS leads were not being countered elsewhere. So it was a lot of minions dying to touch. Almost like there was a hunger strike going on, unfortunately, in this game. And that's because the lane where Nuguri was, no one wanted in there. There was the most Magic Pen you could ever imagine on a Rise build.
Second item, Void Star.
If he could have built another item, it would have been another... he would have tried to find Magic Pen somewhere. Abyssal Mask just for the penetration would have been
maybe.
in this particular game. Nuguri, when he's good, he's real good. When he's bad, pretty bad. So that didn't happen in this particular game. And now, GenG, who remember, really desperately had a lot to fight for here, kind of been just backhanded. This wasn't an open hand slap. This was a backhand.
That was a straight backhand. And that was like after they waited for a while. It's like the little kitten is like slapping the face of the golden retriever, and then the golden retriever finally decides that he wants the kitten to go away and hits her across the room. That's basically what happened. That's a fair bit of damage there. That's doing the math. It's a sad day for CuVee.
That right. Nicely done there, Atlas. Nicely done to DWG Gaming. When we went to the lull state and reached Adelaide, I couldn't have known it would go like this.
Things are going to get so exciting.
I couldn't have known.
Oh my goodness.
That was a Radelaide.
We must have gone to the wine country, because wine country in Adelaide, absolutely beautiful. That's why the lull state's so nice.
We're definitely going to get notes from the rifle broadcaster.
Yeah, we really are. And there's a lot of our friends from back in Australia in the commentary scene that are from Adelaide, so hopefully they're not too mean to us for being so mean to where they're from. And hopefully DWG isn't as mean to GenG in game number 2. That's going to be coming up right after the break.